Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Marcus Robbins, founder of Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. Welcome to the show, Marcus.
Thank you, Grand Day, to everybody. And it's a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for sharing the space today.
You're welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Marcus. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll understand from you more about holistic healing and also about personal transformation. All this we'll talk about. But first, let's understand a bit more about you, Marcus, about your background, about your journey, so that the audience knows directly from you who they are listening to.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for the time. So I'll drop in around my teenage years. And, I had a very, typical American teenage life. High school, I started getting involved with drinking alcohol on the weekends. We had a mother that was one of our friends' mothers that would buy us alcohol on the weekends. So, as a teenager, we thought that was like, the cool mom, quote unquote. So we were drinking on the weekends, inviting our classmates over and things like that. And then that progressed into discovering marijuana and then smoking weed. So then that gradually progressed into me starting to have parties later on in high school at my house. And then along with that, I had also went through my parents divorcing when I was a teenager. So while I was a teenager in high school, my parents went through a divorce, and that divorce actually hit me pretty hard. And it was pretty hard for me. And the thing that made it very difficult was that as a teenager, I had to experience my mother going through abusive relationships after my father. And that's the key there is like, my father wasn't abusive towards my mother, and they divorced. And then I had to experience my mother going through abusive relationships after my father. So that was pretty difficult on me for a little while in my life. It kind of pushed me away from my home life, which pushed me further out into the streets. And the reason why I bring that up is because it correlates with this story and timeline that I've been sharing. So with that happening, it was another influence that helped push me into the streets further, which then pushed me further into addictive behaviors. Now, these addictive behaviors with substances turned into me selling weed to my friends in high school. And then from there, when I graduated, it ended up becoming me then exploring psychedelics and then party drugs and then going to music festivals. These music festivals, it was with like the Grateful Dead crowd, the people that were taking psychedelics, taking MDMA, cocaine, all these different substances recreationally. So I started taking all these substances recreationally, multiple days a week, selling LSD, selling mushrooms, selling cocaine, Molly, all these different substances. And I was really just lost in a blender of addiction, as well as just not really knowing how to cope and really address and deal with the things going on with my home life. So then from there, this is around 2014 when I'm in the prime of all this energy. So parallel to this in 2014, I met a good friend of mine named John. John was already a Reiki master. He already knew about the chakras, breath work, shamanic healing, and all these other different things that were holistic based. So we started hanging out every day. When I say every day, I mean every day, going to the gym, eating meals together, like really growing and evolving together. But at the same time, we also had addictive behaviors too. So it was like a parallel of, addictive behaviors with getting high and using substances. But then it was also the balance of inner practices, breath work, chakras, Reiki, all these different things. So he started teaching me Reiki and breath work, meditation, the chakras. He started introducing me to yoga teachers and more. And this basically helped me begin the process of self-healing. and also becoming in power over my addictions. So 2014, 2015 came around and I started practicing Reiki through him. And then I started practicing meditation in my own space at home. And what I started noticing was the more that I continued to do these practices like Reiki and meditation, I started having less impulses. I started having less attachments to substances to get high. I started also becoming more grounded, more patient, less angry. All these different lower emotions were starting to become more tamed and more grounded. So, with all that being said, I started learning these practices. I was also dealing with my addictive behaviors, as well as the parts of me that weren't healed, dealing with my parents divorcing and other things as well. And I started practicing these meditations with my friends, just really small groups, couple of us. I would do guided meditations just to see how it was for them. Every time it'd be a positive remark on how it was for people. And 2015 came around and I ended up getting set up with a undercover detective and I sold drugs to that detective. So I was on probation for a good while, on house arrest. I was given an opportunity to, not go to prison because it's my first time. So they wanted to give me an opportunity. And while I was on probation, house arrest, long story short, and these are key factors too, if you're someone that is wanting to change and evolve and become a better version of yourself, is number one, I didn't change my environment. I didn't change my influences. And I thought that I was just this magnificent being that, oh, I haven't been smoking or I haven't been drinking for 6 months. Maybe I can go into the valley of shadows where all my friends are drinking and smoking and everything. And maybe I can just influence them or tell them, you don't have to do this stuff. So, of course, big heart, beautiful mind. A lot of us have that, but we forget that other people aren't ready for that all the time. And if they're not ready for that, you can put yourself in a position where you keep on creating more karma for yourself, or you put yourself in position to fall into your old patterns and habits. So, long story short, I did good hanging out with them for a little while. And then one night came around where I drank, and alcohol became that gateway for me. Once I drank, I then smoked. And then once I started smoking, I had that stimulation back in my system and it triggered that addictive tendency. I started smoking on probation, started failing my drug test, and they kept on giving me opportunities because it was marijuana and it wasn't a hard drug. But I ended up doing a hard drug one night. I went to a party. My friend was leaving for the military. This was a high school party of all of our high school friends coming back together to celebrate. And I ended up doing cocaine that night. And a few days later, I had a drug test and I ended up failing it. So I got arrested, and from that day on, I went to prison. Didn't look back to the outside world. Couldn't see my friends, couldn't see my family, couldn't do the things I wanted to do. It was prison from then on. So then I was in prison for about a year in 2017. And while I was in prison, it actually became one of the most enlightening experiences of my life. And a lot of people tend to think, oh, prison, this is awful. So sorry for you. But for me, it ended up becoming one of the best experiences of my life because of what it catapulted me to realize about myself. So when I got in there, went through some very, very dark things, 22-hour lockdowns a day, being in a cell with one other person. And that cell is only basically 15 feet. And you have just a toilet, a sink, and 2 beds, no barrier whatsoever. 22 hours, 23 hours in lockdown in there, not getting really good food, real good hydration, of course. So then there's other experiences that came along with it. And I'll be honest, I didn't have any negative personal experiences. I didn't have people come at me or anything like that. It was really just respect. Respect is one of the biggest things ingrained in our human self, no matter where we go. And if you carry yourself with respect, then it's likely that people won't even mess with you because you're being respectful. So while I was in there, I ended up teaching about 8 different inmates the chakra system as well as guided meditations. And I would go out to the softball field and we'd sit out in the softball field. Keep in mind that this is a rare thing that never really happens in prison. This is not a typical experience where people are always going out into the softball field and sitting in a circle and meditating. It's a very masculine environment. When I say masculine, I mean extreme masculine, as in, you know, no crying, no showing emotions, being a man, like working out all the time, like, all that type of stuff. So I end up teaching these inmates meditation as well as the chakras, guide them through meditation out in the softball field, and I start changing their lives. I start becoming a light for them and sparking a light inside of them. So I also started reading scripture to people and I would translate it into ways that people could understand, whether it's the Bible, the Bhagavad Gita. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but that was my attempt. Um, so long story short is I ended up getting out after about a year in November of 2017. And when I got out, I was rebirthed. I was found in my purpose. And with that, after doing what I did in such a dark environment, I was inspired to bring that to the outside world. So 2018 came around, and that's when I created Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. And that was when I also got officially Reiki certified. And I also got Crystal Healing certified, which is just becoming attuned and becoming aware of how to use the energy fields of crystals and using them consciously to help have a more conscious and healthy life. So then from there, 2019, I started doing content creating, created my own podcast. And the intention of my podcast is to help bridge community worldwide, to help bridge our stories, to bridge our knowledge and wisdom, and to give each other practices and tools to help each other be able to be self-empowered with the power within ourselves. So from there, everything has just continued to expand and unfold and continue to grow. I have multiple different podcasts now, a couple of shows that I produced online. I also hold retreats. I do workshops online. I do events in person in Ohio. I'm also open to travel. I will travel to different states, even countries, to set up retreats, to do meditations, to do events, to teach. And now I'm at the point where I'm traveling to multiple states and I'm doing different things online weekly, doing lives weekly. And these travels to states have been teachings about chakras, subconscious reprogramming, inner child healing, as well as some other things as well. So that's really, it's really a good chunk of the main storyline that has contributed to my spiritual awakening and the reason why I do what I do today. Um, yeah, and I'll just kind of leave it off there.
Right, right, Marcus. So I want to understand. You talked about chakras. Uh, how would you, or how do you explain these chakras to people in that part of the world? Uh, Tell us a bit about that, so that people who are. It's not that in India everyone knows about it. Also, a lot of people know, a lot of people do not know, and so that will help a lot of people in every other part of the world, including the western part of the world.
Yeah, absolutely. So I like to. So I'm someone that I like to call myself a universal soul, and the reason why I call myself a universal soul is because I'm someone that is open to finding knowledge and wisdom within any text or within any teaching, no matter if it's Hindu, ancient Indian, or if it's Greek, Egyptian, American, whatever it may be. I'm able to see within myself through spirit that there's some type of wisdom or some type of knowledge that can be applied to myself and to the world. So with that being said, I like to break down like, the original meanings of things, but then also add, tangible ways to understand how you can sense and feel it in your life, and then also other experiences as well. So I always begin with, when I teach about the chakras, and this is one of my favorite things to teach. I'm always teaching about the chakras, is I always start with the basics. So what is a chakra? So for everybody out there, the question for you is, what is a chakra? Do you know what a chakra is? And if you don't, the original meaning of chakra goes back to Sanskrit. And chakra just means simply wheel of light or wheel of energy. So with that being said, these wheels of light or wheels of energy are basically acting as gateways. Or you can also call them energetic portals in a way. Now, how is it that they are gateways or energetic portals? Well, if you go on Google or any other search engine and you type in 7 chakras and aura, or 7 chakras aura, anything like that, AI will understand, you'll find hundreds and hundreds of diagrams showing people either sitting, standing, or whatever posture. And then they'll show the 7 chakras, and then they'll show multiple different layers of energy outside of your physical body. Now, what this is showing is the multidimensionality of what a human being fully is. So oftentimes we may believe that the human being is just a flesh body. Well, there's a reason why we say my body. Our body is a vehicle. It's a body for us to experience through. We are a soul being, a spiritual essence that is in a material form. So when we come to that remembrance and we start to study ourselves, these diagrams can help us understand that. And it can help us navigate our way through this human life in a more conscious and co-creative way. So when you look at these diagrams, and I'm not sure, maybe if you want to pull up one of the diagrams, I could explain it to people. Up to you.
Right now it will be difficult because I need to turn that into PDF. But you explain.
Okay.
Maybe those who can go and see.
Yeah, I'll explain it. So basically, when you look at it, and you guys can even do it right now while I'm talking. You guys can look on your own right now and pull it up. 7 chakras aura. Just type that in. But you'll see an image, and you'll see the physical body will be basically the center or the middle. And then like a Russian doll, how things stack like that, you'll see that. And then from the physical body, you'll see these different stackings of energetic bodies or layers. Now, each one of these stackings is going to be a different body or a different layer of our human self. So the lowest is going to be the physical body. And if you think of yourself as a vibratory, energetic frequency being, this is all contributed by frequency of energy. So your physical body is going to be the most lowest vibrational body of all of your bodies. As in, it is the most material. It is the most dense. In order for it to be a third dimension, this physical world is a third dimension, it has to slow down the rate of light and frequency in order for it to densify into material. Now, this isn't good or bad. This doesn't mean that the physical body is like demonic and evil and all these things just because it is labeled or known as the most dense version of who you are. It's just a slower rate of speed, which means it makes it more of a material self. And with that being said, it also means the physical world is the last to manifest energy. So we'll experience things mentally and emotionally before we experience physically. And we're about to get into that. So from the physical body, your first layer that comes out is going to be your energy body. It's also labeled as the etheric body, the metaphysical body, or even the rainbow body as well. And this etheric body or rainbow body is where our chakras reside. Along with the chakras, it is also where our minor chakras reside. What are minor chakras? Minor chakras are simply our meridian centers. So everything has a correlation, as in your physical is attached to your metaphysical is attached to your mental, attached to your emotional, attached to your spiritual, and they're all attached to each other and they all correspond. Whatever affects you physically affects you emotionally. Whatever affects you emotionally affects you mentally, so on and so forth. So, with that being said, the energy body acting as this blueprint system, you can call it, or you can call it a governing system as well, or even a bridge. And the reason why it is a governing system or a bridge is because with it being placed as the next body from our physical body, it basically acts as a template. And that template, it contains our light codes and matrix system for our human being in the physical world. So this is why in ancient traditions, a lot of our civilizations and cultures are studying the light body. Now, they might not directly say, we are studying the light body, we are trying to activate our light body, but with the practices and the focuses that they're doing, that is what they are doing without directly saying it. So when we look back at yoga, breath work, as well as other practices such as traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, what is one of their main focuses in these practices? Well, that main focus is to open up your centers, to open up your meridians. Now, why do we do this? Because within our centers and within our meridians has this spiritual substance called chi. What is chi? Chi, I don't think can really be fully explained in human terms, but chi, if you want to say, is basically divine consciousness stored inside of our body. The more we activate that divine consciousness or that chi, and it's flowing through our system, flowing through our bloodstream, flowing through our electrical system, as well as our energy centers, then we are more intuitive, as we call it. What is intuitive? Well, I like to simply break it down like this: being in tune with what is, intuitive, in tune with what is. When we are intuitive, we are not needing to seek, we are not needing to find answers outside of ourselves. We are not needing to have addictive behaviors. We are not needing to have self worth based off of the world. When we are intuitive, in tune with what is, we have spirit flowing through us within, and we feel naturally without even having to think about it, without even being confused, without even having to force anything. We are in tune with our purpose. We feel our guidance. We feel if we need to be doing something or if we need to be resting. So that's the goal with opening our centers, opening our chi, getting our meridians open, is so we can be more in tune with this spiritual nature of being intuitive. And where our intuition comes from is the activation of our light body. The physical body, if you really want to put it in the context, it's ignorant. The physical body doesn't really have self-awareness. It's a third dimensional being. So we have to train it. We have to teach it. We have to practice. We have to develop patterns and routines and habits to train and embody what it is that we would like this being to be, that we have been gifted individually. So the chakras, with the energy body being the bridge, from there on out, if you look at the diagrams, the next layers are the emotional body, and then the mental body, and then the astral body. So, in order for you to experience your emotional body, in order for you to experience your mental body, in order for you to experience your astral body in healthy, harmonious, and empowering ways, then we have to have healthy energy centers, chakras, meridians, because those are the gateways for our physical world and our physical body to be able to experience healthy emotional, mental, and astral experiences. Now, if we have a bunch of blockages in our energy field and in our chakras, then we're going to be more prone to disease and illness and imbalances. We're going to manifest toxic patterns into our life until we learn lessons. And they're just going to help us be able to return back to balance, back to center. So, also, when you think of the path of the straight and narrow, as Christ says, where we want to be in the path of the straight and narrow. The path of the straight and narrow is also being in the path of balance, balance of yourself, balance of your masculine and feminine. Yes, we all have masculine, we all have feminine principles. Masculine simply means action, output, structure, order, self-discipline, safety, security, direction. Feminine simply means surrender, receiving, nurturing, harnessing, cultivating, creating. So we all have these principles, and when we bring balance to them, then we become a Christed version of ourselves, so to say, or a Buddha version of ourselves, however you would like to describe it. So the energy centers, we can go into each one, and you can study each individual chakra, and then you can learn about which mental, emotional, and spiritual aspects that chakra connects you to. So then when you become aware of that, you can then just start focusing on doing chakra healing or chakra work rather than staying at the surface and just looking at problems, looking at physical experiences, but you can holistically start to go to the roots. Okay,
Right.
what experiences inside of my energy body are stored in which chakra, causing these different illnesses or causing these different negative experiences in my life. So then what you find out is, for example, okay, I am struggling with my fear of the future. I am constantly angry about my past. Those type of energies, they get stored at the root chakra. The root chakra is your center of foundation, survival, abundant connection to the earth, as well as stability. So with that being said, if we are experiencing these lower emotions that I named, then we can do root chakra healing. You can play root chakra meditations, you can play root chakra sound healing, and you can do other practices like yoga and breath work, journaling, and other things as well, to then identify and go straight to the core of the connection that is going to be able to help clear and heal the mental, emotional, and physical aspects, all because that center is connected to them. So that's my
Right.
favorite way, honestly, of going about the healing process for me, is going straight to the chakras, knowing that they're connected multidimensionally.
Right. Right, Marcus. So how do people, uh, uh, help us, understand about the sacred light healing and wellness? How do you do things there? Or what are the ways people can, get help from you for all the things that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's multiple different ways that you can be a part of my spaces and connect with me. And one of those is, through my public donation-based spaces, which I do local here in Ohio, Dayton, Columbus, Cincinnati. I'm hosting events pretty often. I also do online workshops every so often. So those are mostly donation-based as well. And along with that, I also have an online community that I host worldwide conscious holistic community. So that's always an opportunity where you can actually be hands-on, build, be connected 24/7, as well as share your gifts with others in the community and receive their gifts as well. That is something that we are doing now is we are building calendars and schedules with the community, and we're all picking different days of the week and times that we would like to host a workshop or host a teaching with each other in the community just to share each other's gifts and build together. So there's that as well. I also do live podcasts and shows, and I'm always open to collaborations and guests if you would like to come on. And then also my one on one services. I offer one on one services ranging from Reiki to light language to card readings to chakra balancing to Akashic record, soul origin meditations, as well as life coaching for shadow work and developing healthy patterns. And then I also do custom guided meditations and much more. So
Right.
it's
Right.
all
So,
available for you guys.
right. So, what is the best way for them, for people to connect with you?
Yeah. So I have a link page, and my link page connects you to all of my different outlets. And that link page is listen.to/sacredlight33. And I'll spell that out for you guys because it's a little tricky. So it's LI and then a period, STEN, period, TO /sacredlight33. And then when you go there, it's very simple. It's just one page. It'll open up and then it'll have all the different links stacked up basically. You'll see Facebook and it'll just say click here, Instagram, click here, YouTube, click here. I also have my service links on there. And then I also have a organic reishi mushroom coffee that I distribute that you guys can find on there
Right.
as well.
Right. Right. People will reach about the all the things that they need, especially
Yep.
more people, at least from India, they will be more interested to understand all the things and less of mushroom, where right now we do not have much option for in terms of health benefits, and all these things are a bit difficult for people to understand. But yes, those who want to, they can always go to your website and understand about those things. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.